morning. This is the second gameplay. Gonna keep, because I have nothing else to do at the moment, and this is actually kind of important. I'm gonna keep playing until 2035, something like early January, because I want to see how much more I actually get after the next debt reduction. Notice that Germany's debt went down by almost a trillion. Still have a tiny treasury reserve, but almost nothing. After I put most of my guys to building houses, I think I'm gonna build one laboratory. Yeah, one laboratory. We're fast approaching the end of the tech tree.
For the moment, I'll give you a quick update on the city. Do you wish to the participant?
Our network has been... We are awaiting your... The rebels have set up a... The rider. The rebels have stopped.
I believe next 3-month update we're gonna get a very little surplus or no surplus at all.
According to your directives, the...
Well, that was quick. God, I goes well with my project. God, I hope it goes well. And these guys are protesting welfare dependency while I'm lowering taxes. Don't even dare to raise the minimum social solidarity allowance about supporting the poor too much, as in social dependency. Dare not raise the minimum solidarity allowance, so we'll have to make do with lowering the taxes and getting the interest rate to start raising the value of our currency, so we don't need to raise any of the wages or services because we'll still be getting a better GDP overall. That requires a strong deflationary cycle, but I think we'll get there. This game is approaching the end of its playability. I have almost the entire tech tree and it's like 10 years in, so spying seems to have been way too efficient. Because I can guarantee you it takes more than 10 years to learn all the tech in
We have
the world.
subdued the rebel movement. There's no more unrest in the city. Order has been restored and our men have returned to the stations.
Takes you longer than 10 years to learn all the technologies in the world, but with this simulator I was actually able to do it in about 10 years, which is too optimistic. Even the world famous Tesla couldn't do that. Neither the invention or the company of Mr. Musketeer. I'll try to play this until I get to the New Year's this year. Don't know if I have the energy for that, but I'll at least try, and I have some other things to do at the meantime, so I can wait to build up energy, if you will.
Our scientific self. I did.
That's a very good deal, actually. Want to join our praise program? Okay, maybe not. I was discussing with my support, same old that'll get you banned everywhere, the age of consent. And they were saying that mostly because they're actual facts that 15 as we have it now is it's acceptable. I mean, you could consider it one generation's improvement over a long-standing issue. It's not a great thing, but it's better than nothing and most of the alternatives. So that's what they're. And they're saying while they would theoretically support lowest or no, because when you are in the group of people most affected by such a law, it is natural that you would want it changed the most. But for one generation's improvement, they are willing to stand by the 14, 15, but they're merely come on. Okay, that's good. They're merely okay with 15. They would be preferring at 14, but they accept that for this generation, pushing it below 14 might be too hard or downright impossible. So for this particular generation, 14 is something they're willing to live with and seize their revolutionary activities in exchange for. But they are okay with 15, but they will still grumble. 14 to them seems an acceptable middle ground. Then we can start talking about this issue for the next 20 years. Then we have a lot of other hills to fight and die on, and we'll eventually return to this hill like we do with all the hills that we've been at before, but for a while it will be acceptable. So I'm thinking of having it as the last of my actions while in power to be like the departure gift. Okay, what happened there?
I have to tell you.
Okay, what happened there? It's probably going to correct itself in a few seconds, and then my economy is going to explode. Okay, that was really weird. Soon as I mentioned dropping it to 14, all the problems magically go away. Just as I mentioned stopping the gorilla thing that they're doing. It's very peculiar. Well, we're seeing what this group is striving for and what they're offering us for working with them. It's about 5% improvement in our surplus. That's what they're offering us. I knew it. There's a tar nugget still in there. Now it's in the water and I can't get it out. God damn it. It's even a big one. So it seems we will get a very large bonus if we actually hold to our electoral promise of seeing that the youngsters' affairs are taken care of.
Your country's elevated financial solvency risk.
Speaking of the same topic, we should probably start looking at school days off.
Our network has been.
Just as I mentioned, the promise, I'm doing it as the last action and using that for them to end the guerrilla warfare that they're doing, which is pretty obviously them when you really look at the details. And just as soon as I say that will be what we're aiming for, the whole situation suddenly improves by a metric shit. And now we're back at minus 4%. And now unemployment rate is 15%. What is this economy doing? Is so not before 2021. We still don't even have that.
For the moment, I'll give you a quick update on the city.
Seems like somebody's pushing on the gas.
Your country's elevated financial solvency risk requires us to warn. Do you wish to...
The participant.
The simulator is truly starting to look like it's at its end. That or they just discovered something like gold in a huge amount. Or it's the second part of the pump and drop plan. Makes sense.
We could create...
I'll give you a quick up.
Listen, you should... You did not do anything to appease... Do you wish to...
The terrorist organization.
We are in a dead end.
everything. The movement seems
Our scientific set.
the sit-in begins to run out of steam. I'll give you a quick.
Hello? This is some atmosphere here.
Tempted to increase the police numbers because they can't deal with the sit-in. But I think instead of confronting the demonstrators with more police manpower, I'll just reduce the value-added tax and reduce the people living in absolute poverty and relying on government handouts, which is probably what these people are most complaining about. Getting a lot of deposition events because of the city.
Our network has been.
Maybe they're finally realizing that I have a lot of extra electricity and they can actually use it for something. Maybe they're finally realizing.
I have just.
Or the effect of the decrease in value-added tax and increase in health spending actually kicked in. But based on timing, it still seems like it's the both of the 14-year-olds saying that we will give you this much if you give us that much. It's literally the old saying of 50% of the population's workforce. That's what it's saying. Aina kuivuna. Siinäpä nimi. Always dry. The president, always dry. Is that like Queen Victoria or the Iron Lady? Margaret Thatcher. And always dry. Pampers. Really shouldn't be making puns, but that was a good one. Good dad, Jack. Lady whose name is always dry.
I have a small favor to ask.
No, not under the current situation. Actually meant to do one thing here, but I'm afraid to do it now, but I will anyway. Actually, no need to, it's already at the right. They have the three plazas, Victory Square, People's Square, and State Square. Finding it curious that a large-scale riot can be dealt with by the local police, but the sit-in cannot. That's so low that I cannot even increase my state spending much with that one, but a little bit. I will do this because I promised this in my election. You may go.
The rebels have set up a
Then we will repair houses.
The bill has been. A rebel was act.
You can actually notice the Earth resources use day from this, because when deficit goes to zero and we start paying surplus is when our bank account has essentially balanced out for the year. Because this starts at a deficit, but economic growth drags it to a surplus. Which is why I've been able to start paying back the debt. I'd wish for a greater surplus so we can actually repair the house in a pinch.
Your country.
Ooh, donated to our Ebola thing. It's very nice. I think after I'm done, I'll send these guys a long bug list and say I'm waiting for the next one, because I know you guys are a small company and you can't afford to release bug fixes for everything, but please at least fix these things for the next release. Then I will buy the next release. This game for me is like FIFA is for the sport nerds. You always buy the new version. Couple of things here and there have changed. It's like Stellaris is by Paradox Interactive, which in terms of these kinds of computer games is a large company. And most of their products get like 3 or 4 years of updates after release, and they have a few that have been updated for a really long time, and they're masterpieces, but they can afford it. Their sales are in a zero to what these guys get. So you either admit that it's a company that'll die without you support, and if you support them in 10 years, you'll have a masterpiece that no other game in the same category comes even close to. But until then, you're working. That's what you have to admit to. Okay, you guys attack that one. And you guys attack that one.
Our network has been.
Okay, and you guys are about
We
to
have
get there.
subdued the rim.
You got it actually already, and you were already dismantling the fortifications. Oof. Treasury surplus is gone with this level of economic growth. So might as well build one biomass and one geo. Okay, I'll do this. It's expensive, but I'll do it nonetheless. We have to even take a little bit of a new debt for that one. Still falls under Brazil's debt category, so we're good. That's about all we can spend on for this quarter. Electricity vanished quite nicely. So I'm thinking that was in the astral, obviously the voting rights thing, but in terms of economics, it was probably the fact that they realized we have about 20% free electricity that could be used for at least something, and that jumped the GDP a little bit. So let's keep in mind that we can actually increase the electricity surplus in the future quite easily. we can't repair more of these because that would end up taking debt, and we don't want to do it at the moment. So we can just wait. We could also sell some government-funded industry. Let's actually check if there isn't anything that we want to privatize. We already have armed pickup truck as non-government, and everything looking like military thing is government. We'll actually privatize satellite industry completely. Nah, can't do that, so that's about it. This is moving earlier and earlier, which means that the Earth is running out of resources. But I'm still blaming the fact that you can't reforest in this game. Definitely blaming that one. Because, if you look at these are probably countries that started with negative, and all of these at 0.0 or 0.01 are the ones that should be reforesting but aren't. There's like 20 countries here. That's why it's looking like this may actually. Oh. Brazil seems to have started to protect their rainforests. No, actually, Brazil is cutting them like crazy. So is Congo.
Your cut. Your. Our scientific. Our network has been.
Let's aim for 5% reduction every 2 years, because every 2 years there's an election and I have to make an election promise. And I say we'll keep doing more of the same, with the addition that value added tax will go down by 5%. Same for that. More of hospitals, houses, repairs, investments, etc., etc. But value added tax will go down by 5%, and no other tax category will go up. With the exception that if we consider annoying, we will increase Tobin tax. it will slow down the vibrations without eliminating them, which completely removing geothermal and building, for example, nuclear, which is cheaper, will do. Graphics, but Tobin tax seems to reduce them. It reduces when you have water in a tank and you brake and the water goes to the front and then your car starts to slide forward. It reduces that. So we might reduce Tobin tax just because it reduces a very annoying faction in our economic system, but it'll be minuscule by comparison to the value-added tax increase. Absolutely minuscule. Perhaps 1% increase out of the 100% decrease or 99% decrease. So electricity deficit is truly getting out of hand. Once we get the next estimate, if it happens to be a sizable, which it won't, or the year end, if we get a sizable, we'll have to build a solar. But for now, I think I'll build biomass and geothermal. In fact, at next budget, I might even build another geothermal and not build houses because the power is very bad. It's very bad. But at least our economy is growing like crazy. I don't know what happened, but something did. If we get to 0.1% of world GDP, I will consider it a victory. I have certain victory conditions like completing my space program or tax reform or getting to the end of the tech tree or getting 0.1% of the world economy. End of space race is probably some form of colony on another planet. We are doing well. There's still the living long-term in space, 2050 to 2057. It's pretty late in the game. How expensive the last will be. I can't pay millions. No, there's the number. It's actually a lot cheaper than I thought it would be. How about permanent base on Mars? Now we're talking.
Our scientific cell.
So program 5 will be Venus. Orbital probe. Okay, that's cheap enough. Orbital space probe with landing. Okay, that seems doable. Nice, more for 100 nations.
sign?
Yeah, but take a look at this. After the GDP jump. Wonder what that really was about. Maybe it really was the benefit from including the young people in our society. Finally finding peace in that conflict. Maybe that really was the benefit. They're predicting it's a 40% increase into our economy when we find a peace amongst these two groups. Partial unemployment is smidgen while full-time unemployment increased dramatically. And also to add, our wages actually finance paying myself the wage I need to eventually at some point make the space program work. UFO program. Eventually to make. But for now, we'll need to wait for the year-end budget analysis. I hope we get enough to cover the energy grid upgrades, which are gonna be very expensive. We're gonna need maybe 3 more geothermal and then 1 solar. Solar is gonna be 2 to 3 trillion, and geothermal 1.5 trillion. Geothermal is 400 billion. But solar produces so much more that it's actually more energy efficient. Soon the energy minister is gonna tell us that they've had to reduce the voltage to keep everybody supplied. You can actually evidently decrease the voltage in the grid so the heaviest machines won't work while the grid itself still actually functions. And then you can essentially test machine by machine if it runs at the right voltage for now. Household appliances should for the most part be fine. Because they doesn't actually work at the voltage. Add a very small generator just to boost the voltage a little bit up and then actually get it to run. Instead of trying to have to power something like a steel mill with like a wind turbine, you can boost electricity by 5% and be done with it. There we go. In order to avoid power outages. That would be a perfect time to increase the pollution tax, but if you make any kind of transaction, including from your own account to your own account, we're gonna charge you, from the side point of view, 1,000th of the value of what you're moving, compared with a value-added tax of 96%.
The bill has been.
Now we'll wait until the end of September, then most likely decrease value-added tax by 1 point again. But if we don't get enough, we might not decrease it because this electricity crisis is going to be very severe. That cost of the facility increases too much with the manpower usage. I know it's more expensive to crash build, but that's a pretty high expense. 1/3 of the time is 4 times more the expenses. I mean, okay, I understand you. And 4 times more manpower. I mean, you get the extra manpower, which is going to cost us, so do you still need the extra expenses? Or would you settle for half the added manpower and half the added expenses if we do it in half the time? Because if you accept that, then you'll still give me like a 90% better deal than what these guys are offering. Then I would crash build a couple of solars right now. September 11th. Nice, finally. Okay. Thinking of instituting a one-child policy, but I'm kind of against it. If a one-child policy would reduce fertility rate to 2 and child mortality to 1%, 1, then I would do it.
Funeral would.
But for now, it's not good. Not good.
The terrorist.
We can still decrease child mortality by a long distance by building those hospitals, which gives us an indicator of the number they should have been at initially. That's a pretty low quality image. Estimated risk of failure 100%. Do not have living long-term in space. I estimate I will play this game until I'm at the end of the tech tree. I estimate. Let's see when we get 2042, 2041, 2045, 2042, 43, 2042, 2047, 2043, 2046. Now these are really early. 2043, 2038, that's pretty early. So if I understand this tech tree correctly, which I probably don't, after we get the intercontinental missiles Mark III, there won't be any technology behind them. If there is, then we have a lot of technology to go through.
Our network.
Well, that doesn't seem likely to me. Sorry to say. I think much more likely that we suddenly jumped by 40% in our GDP. I think that's a lot more likely. So one more, two more geothermal. No, one more geothermal and then one solar. And then a shit ton of geothermal and hydro. And then when biomass and fossil together are below 5%, then more fossil, more biomass.
Demonstrations are taking.
Let's see what it tells us in terms of surplus. Let's hope it gives us at least $1 trillion. With the economic growth, that might be possible, but it's fairly unlikely. We definitely need to build a lot of houses, but more than that, we need to build a lot of power generation. At least $1 trillion so we can build the geothermals that we're lacking in. It's actually 1.7 trillion. That's very nice. It's very expensive, but it must be done. And then one geo. And then look at debts. Still falling under the smallest this year's loans. So they make 1 year in totality. Thanks to the very high need of new facilities, I might not with this. Actually, I will do the cheapest of these. 800 billion. 700 billion. That's enough. Now we're at a very large deficit.
The bill has. The bill has. The referendum. The referendum failed. The bill has been voted up. The bill has been. We are awaiting your.
For the
We are awaiting. The rioters. The rioters have.
Expecting a bad one because another city is also rioting.
I'll give you a quick.
Our site. Do you wish to?
The participants.
The rebels have set up a barricade. You. The rebels have set up a barricade. The clashes have ceased in the
Oh. I didn't ask for a popular vote on these laws because I believe most of them would pass. It's because I believe stating that we are at the most liberal end when the most liberal end is clearly insane in that case is not what I'd recommend. When saying that our right to strike is unlimited, you don't mean when you're in strike you have the right to, nuke the palace. Then again,
has been voted on at the local voted on, but our network has been the referendum failed. The referendum. We are awaiting your. Our network. One of our men has. The rebels have set up a barricade. A rebel was accidentally. The bill has been voted on. The rebels have set up a barricade. The bill has been. The referendum.
I'm expecting the riots to turn out to be high.
moment.
The clashes have
So the desert is better than closer to the equator.
The bill has been voted on.
Oh,
The bill has been
increasing free time for people now that the
I'll give you a
economy is
quick-
doing actually pretty well.
Do you wish to?
The button.
The bill has been.
There was some old smoke still in the pipe, and after it's like lukewarm instead of burning hot, and it's had time to like soak in the air, tastes very bad. But most of it was the normal weed smoke, so I didn't want to blow it all out because it would have also meant a good one. And I tried to hold it in, but at the end I couldn't and coughed for like 10 minutes. Now, if we get a billion surplus, which I doubt with the amount that we've been spending, I will be
We are in a dead end. Country's on the edge of the abyss, and in everyone's eyes, you alone are responsible. Parliament is sitting and intends to.
aina kuivana. The pun was not enough, and I evidently can't buy electricity from my neighbors. You'll have to live with the shortage while the solar is being built. It's only a year, and I think we're about 3 months in. If we get a large enough surplus, I'll do a lot of things. Let's wonder who's this time. Finally, if I do have a trillion surplus, I will be able to fund the healthcare reform fully. Like, absolutely fully. Then the remaining thing is to build hospitals if I feel like it, but there is no category that can be better funded. We're currently at prescriptions being 90% funded by the state. When we prescribe you something, we also pay for it. You only have to take it. So that's at 100%, we're at 90%.
The clashes have. The rioters.
Do you wish to send in the army to disperse the demonstration? Do you wish? I'll give you a.
Set up.
Sure. Do you think your politics? For the moment.
The clashes have.
give you a quick update. Do you wish the participant?
We are waiting your... The rioters. The rioters. Our scientific... The rebels have stopped fighting. The rioters. A rebel was... The rebels have set up... Our scientific...
We're about to get the 3-month budget in. We're building new power plants, but it takes a while. We could put a tax on electricity to reduce the.
Meteorologists have just confirmed.
God damn it. We could increase the taxation on electric and petroleum, but I feel like a tax isn't the right solution here. Waiting for the 40% economic growth to kind of plateau out while building new power production facilities as quickly as humanly possible is, I believe, a better choice.
We have subdued the preparations are.
We're almost at another 3-month interval. Now we'll see if we have enough to completely fund the healthcare and then also start as our single focus remaining lowering the taxes. Then when taxes hit a good point, then I'm ready to quit. Before that, I will slightly raise my wage though. Whoa. leg touched the keyboard when I was reaching for more matches. There are some reasons why I hope my little generator plan comes out alright. Next step in getting it to work is to show that it has a positive effect on me, which is to clear my living space of dirt.
You are. The terrorist organ.
I hope I still get a surplus despite running at an 8% deficit. Might not actually.
Our network has been.
The outage occurred during an open heart surgery, and the patient died on the operating table. The clinic had access to an emergency power generator, but it failed due to a lack of fuel after several hours of continuous use. The director of the clinic has announced that he intends to file a complaint against the state, that it is incapable of ensuring the minimum security of energy for health services.
Still a little bit of a surplus despite running a very severe deficit. And these loans are all down. This is down. It's very good. But now I have to do the only thing I can do with this surplus, and now we need a little bit more support from that program is ready to start its primary function, or primary phase. We're about to do the moon mission. About to, in 2 years. Flying around the moon, that's 15 years after we started. So, more soon. The electricity grid demand appearing, and as we build even a little bit of our new solar power, we will have something quite different. Thank you for watching.